Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something real tonight. 90% of people fail. That's the truth. It's not because they weren't smart, not because they weren't talented, but because they quit, they gave up, or they never even tried in the first place. Most people stop at the first roadblock. They stop when it gets uncomfortable. They stop when it looks like nothing is working. But I'm here to tell you, if you want to be the 10% who wins, you got to live your life differently. You got to think differently, move differently, and refuse to accept failure as your final story. Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something about life that most people don't want to hear. The biggest reason people don't win, the biggest reason people don't live out their dreams is because they quit too early. Quitting is the difference between the 90% who fail and the 10% who win. Most people start out excited, they get motivated by a new idea, they talk about their goals, they dream big dreams, and they might even take the first few steps. But the moment it gets hard, the moment things don't go as planned, the moment somebody tells them they can't do it, they quit. That's why so many people never make it. Quitting is easy. Anybody can quit. Quitting doesn't take any effort, doesn't take any faith, doesn't take any courage. That's why the world is full of quitters. But winners, the people who make it, the people you look up to, the people who inspire you, those folks understand that quitting is simply not an option. Now, let's be real. Life will test you. Life will throw storms at you. Life will put you through setbacks, losses, disappointments, heartbreaks, and failures. And when that happens, 90% of people will say, well, I guess it's not for me. I guess I'm not cut out for this. I guess I should stop. That's how most people operate. But the 10% who win, they think differently. They say, this pain I'm going through, this setback I'm facing, this mountain in front of me, it's not here to stop me. It's here to strengthen me. They refuse to let temporary pain decide their permanent future. They keep pushing even when they're tired, even when it hurts, even when they can't see the finish line. That's what separates winners from everybody else. See, the truth is quitting is permanent. If you quit, the dream is dead. If you quit, the opportunity passes. If you quit, you'll never know what could have been. But if you hold on, if you refuse to quit, you keep the door open for victory. And the crazy thing is, sometimes people quit right before the breakthrough is about to happen. I've seen it. People put in years of effort, and then right when they were about to strike gold, right when the tide was about to turn, they gave up. If they had held on a little longer, if they had fought just one more round, they would have seen the victory. You don't know how close you are to your win, and that's why you can't quit. Think about the greats in any field, athletes, entrepreneurs, inventors, leaders. They all had 1,000 reasons to quit, but they didn't. Michael Jordan got cut from his high school basketball team, but he didn't quit. Oprah Winfrey got told she wasn't fit for television, but she didn't quit. Colonel Sanders got rejected over 1,000 times with his fried chicken recipe before someone said yes, but he didn't quit. If they had stopped, they'd be names nobody ever heard of. What made them special wasn't that they never failed. It was that they never quit. When you adopt that mindset, life changes. Because the moment you say to yourself, I'm not quitting no matter what, you've already set yourself apart from 90% of people. You've already put yourself in the category of champions. Quitting is a habit, but so is persistence. Once you teach yourself that you don't quit, you train your mind to find a way instead of finding an excuse. The road to success is full of challenges, but the reward only belongs to those who outlast the struggle. So when life hits you, when you feel like giving up, remember this. Pain is temporary, but quitting makes it permanent. The 10% who win understand that if they can just hang on, push through and keep moving forward, the prize will eventually come to them. Winners don't quit and quitters don't win. That's the first law of success. Ladies and gentlemen, let me make something real clear to you tonight. If you don't believe in yourself, nobody else will. That's the truth. You can't sit around waiting for people to clap for you, waiting for people to validate you, waiting for the world to give you permission to be great. 90% of people fail because they spend their whole lives waiting on somebody else to co-sign their dream. They want people to cheer for them. They want people to say, I believe in you. And when they don't hear it, when they don't get that support, they start chasing their goals. They let other people's doubt become their reality. But the 10% who win, they understand something powerful. They understand that the only voice that truly matters is the one inside their own head. They wake up every day and tell themselves, I am capable, I am built for this, I am enough. That self-belief is the foundation of success. Here's the truth about life. People will doubt you, people will talk about you, people will tell you you're dreaming too big, that you don't have what it takes, that you should just settle. Sometimes it won't even be strangers. It'll be your own friends, your own family, people you thought would be in your corner. They won't see the vision you see. They won't feel the dream the way you feel it. And if you're not strong enough, their doubt will become your doubt. That's why you have to believe in yourself, even when nobody else does, because at the end of the day, it's not their dream, it's yours. I can tell you from my own life, belief is everything. When I was struggling, when I didn't have money, when I was sleeping in my car, there weren't people around me cheering me on. Folks thought I was crazy for chasing comedy. They thought I should just get a regular job, play it safe, live a normal life. But I believed in me. I believed in the gift God gave me. I believed I had something special inside me, and I refused to let anyone talk me out of it. That belief is the only reason I'm standing here today. Because if I had listened to the doubters, if I had listened to people who told me you can't, I'd still be stuck right where I was. The belief is powerful because it shapes how you move. When you believe in yourself, you walk differently. You talk differently. You carry yourself with confidence. Opportunities open up because people can feel your certainty. But when you don't believe in yourself, you hesitate, you second guess, you hold back, and the world passes you by. The universe responds to conviction. If you don't believe in you, why should anybody else? The 10% who win know that belief is not about circumstances, it's about mindset. You might be broke, you might be struggling, you might not have anything going for you right now, but if you believe in yourself, you've already got the first key to success. Because belief keeps you moving when evidence says quit. Belief tells you to keep knocking on doors, keep practicing your craft, keep working late nights and early mornings, even when nobody's watching. Belief makes you keep showing up, and eventually, if you keep showing up, the breakthrough comes. I want you to hear me on this. The crowd may not clap for you right now, but one day if you believe in yourself and keep grinding, the same people who doubted you will be the ones telling others how they used to know you. But that only happens if you keep that fire inside yourself, even when you're standing alone. Believing in yourself is not arrogance, it's survival. It's knowing that if God put that dream in you, then he gave you the power to achieve it, and you don't need anybody else's approval to get started. So stop waiting for applause. Stop waiting for somebody to say, I believe in you. Look in the mirror, tell yourself who you are, and walk in that truth. Because when you believe in yourself, when nobody else does, you've already separated yourself from the 90% who quit. That's how you become part of the 10% who win. Ladies and gentlemen, I need you to hear this because this right here is one of the biggest reasons 90% of people fail. Talent alone will not get you where you want to go. You can be the most gifted, the most talented, the most naturally skilled person in the room. But if you don't have discipline, you're not going to win. I've seen talented people fall behind less talented people simply because they lacked consistency. Discipline beats talent every single time. And that's why the 10% who win understand this truth. They know talent might open a door, but discipline is what keeps it open. The problem is 90% of people waste time. They talk about what they're going to do. They dream about success, but they don't follow through. They start projects and never finish them. They procrastinate. They scroll through social media for hours. They binge watch shows. They go out every night and then they wonder why their dreams don't come true. They think talent is enough. But let me tell you something. Talent without discipline is just wasted potential. The world is full of people with talent who never made it anywhere because they couldn't commit, they couldn't focus, and they couldn't hold themselves accountable. Discipline is doing what you have to do, even when you don't feel like doing it. That's what separates the 10%. Anybody can work when they're motivated, but winners work when they're tired, when they're discouraged, when they don't see results yet. They show up anyway. They keep practicing, keep grinding, keep moving forward. Discipline is about keeping promises to yourself. When you say you're going to wake up early, you wake up early. When you say you're going to put in 3 hours of work, you put in 3 hours. When you say you're going to eat better, train harder, stay focused, you follow through. That builds character, and that character builds success. I remember starting out in my career. There were days when I was exhausted, when I didn't have money for gas, when the crowd was small and the laughs were weak. Most people would have said, man, this isn't worth it. But discipline said, get up, go do the show anyway. That consistency is what kept me in the game long enough to finally catch a break. If I'd waited to feel motivated, if I'd waited for perfect conditions, I'd still be waiting. Discipline is what kept me moving, and discipline is what will keep you moving. Think about an athlete. Everybody at the top level has talent. That's not the difference. The difference is who trains the hardest, who stays in the gym the longest, who eats right, who practices even when nobody's watching. That's discipline. The same applies to life. Whether you're building a business, writing a book, chasing a career, or working on your body, talent will get you started, but discipline will finish the job. And here's the thing, discipline is not easy. It's uncomfortable. It requires sacrifice. It means saying no when your friends are going out. It means waking up earlier than you want to. It means working when your body says rest. But let me tell you this, discipline hurts now, but regret hurts forever. You can either suffer the pain of discipline or the pain of regret, but one of them is coming. The 10% choose discipline because they know the reward on the other side is worth it. So if you want to win, stop relying only on talent. Start training your discipline muscle. Push yourself to show up even when it's hard, to do the work even when nobody's watching. Because at the end of the day, talent may make you shine for a moment, but discipline will make you last for a lifetime. That's what the 10% understand, and that's why they win while the 90% fall short. Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something I've learned in life. The people you surround yourself with will make you or break you. Your circle is either pushing you forward or pulling you back. 90% of people fail because they spend their life surrounded by the wrong people. They hang out with folks who complain all the time, who gossip, who have no dreams, no drive, no vision. They keep people around who drain their energy, who tell them to settle, who laugh at their ambition. And you know what happens? You start becoming like the people you spend the most time with. If your circle is full of quitters, you're going to quit. If your circle is full of negative people, you're going to become negative. If your circle is full of people with no ambition, sooner or later your ambition is going to die too. And the 10% who win, they do something different. They're intentional about who they allow in their space. They know they can't win with losers in their circle. They choose to sit at tables where conversations are about goals, ideas, visions, and opportunities. They surround themselves with people who inspire them, who challenge them, who make them uncomfortable in a good way because they're reaching higher. See, if you're always the smartest person in your group, then you're in the wrong group. You need to be around people who know more than you, who push you to grow, who don't let you settle for average. You have to protect your environment. Your environment shapes your energy, and your energy shapes your results. Think about a seed. You can take the best seed in the world, but if you plant it in bad soil, it's not going to grow. The seed doesn't fail. It's the soil. And many of you are seeds with greatness inside you, but you planted it in bad soil. You're trying to grow in toxic environments around toxic people, and then you wonder why your life feels stuck. The 10% who win, they understand they need to put themselves in good soil, around people who water their dreams, not choke them. Let me tell you, when I was chasing my career, I had to make some tough decisions about my circle. I had friends who didn't understand my vision, who thought I was wasting my time. If I had kept hanging around them, I would have adopted their mindset. I had to step away from certain people, not because I didn't love them, but because I loved my future more. Sometimes you have to let go of old company to step into a new destiny. Everybody who started with you can't finish with you, and that's just the truth. And here's another thing. You need to be careful of dream killers. These are people who look at your vision and tell you it can't be done. They'll laugh at your goals. They'll say you're unrealistic. They'll try to talk you into playing it safe. But let me tell you something. God didn't give them the dream. He gave it to you. Stop expecting everyone to understand what was placed in your heart. The 10% who win, they protect their dreams from dream killers, and they stay around people who breathe life into their vision instead of suffocating it. This circle is your future. If you want to know where you'll be 5 years from now, look at the people you're spending time with today. Are they lifting you higher or holding you back? Are they celebrating your growth or resenting it? Are they challenging you to be better, or are they comfortable keeping you small? The 10% ask these questions and they adjust their circle accordingly. So if you want to be part of the 10% who win, start by auditing your circle. Remove the dead weight. Surround yourself with people who inspire you, people who support you, people who push you to keep going, even when you feel like stopping. Because success is not a solo mission, it's built in community. And when your circle is strong, your future will be strong too. Ladies and gentlemen, I want you to understand something powerful tonight. Failure is not the end of the road. Failure is not final. It's feedback. It's life's way of teaching you, shaping you, and preparing you for success. 90% of people fail because they treat failure like a stop sign. The moment they hit a setback, the moment things don't go their way, the moment they hear no too many times, they pack it up and quit. They say, maybe this isn't for me, or maybe I'm not good enough, and they let failure define them. But the 10% who win, they see failure differently. They understand that failure is just part of the process. They don't see it as defeat, they see it as a lesson. Think about a baby learning to walk. That baby will fall 100 times before they get it right. Now imagine if after the first fall, the baby said, well, I guess I'm not meant to walk. We'd all still be crawling. But babies don't quit because of failure. They learn from each fall, they adjust, and they get stronger until one day they're walking. That's the same way success works. Every failure is just practice. Every setback is teaching you something you couldn't learn any other way. The people who win are the ones who keep getting back up, learning the lesson and trying again. I've failed so many times in my life, I can't even count. I bombed on stage. I've lost opportunities. I've been told no so many times it could have broken me. But every one of those failures taught me something valuable. They made me sharper, tougher, and more prepared for the opportunities that eventually came my way. If I hadn't failed, I wouldn't have learned. And if I hadn't learned, I wouldn't have been ready when my chance finally arrived. That's why I tell people, don't be afraid of failing. Be afraid of never trying, because that's the only real failure. The 10% who win, they use failure as fuel. They ask themselves, what did this experience teach me? How can I do it better next time? What did I miss the first time around? Instead of letting failure break their spirit, they let it build their wisdom. And the more you fail, the wiser you become. That's why some of the most successful people in the world failed the most before they ever won big. Thomas Edison failed over 1,000 times before creating the light bulb. He didn't see those attempts as failure. He said he just found 1,000 ways that didn't work. That mindset is what made him successful. The problem is most people are too worried about how failure makes them look. They don't want to be embarrassed. They don't want people talking about them. They don't want to feel that sting. But here's the truth. Everybody fails. The difference is what you do afterward. The 90% hide from failure. The 10% learn from it. And you can't get to the top without going through failure. It's not a detour. It's part of the path. So the next time you fall short, the next time a door closes, the next time you get rejected, don't look at it as the end. Look at it as feedback. Say to yourself, this isn't final. This is information. This is training. Then use it to come back stronger. The only real failure is quitting. Everything else is just a step forward disguised as a setback. When you shift your mindset this way, failure loses its power over you. You stop fearing it and you start embracing it. And when you embrace it, you grow. That's why the 10% win, because they understand that failure is not their enemy, it's their teacher. Ladies and gentlemen, I want you to understand this because it's one of the greatest truths in life. If you're going to be part of the 10% who win, you've got to live by faith and not by sight. 90% of people fail because they only believe in what they can see. They trust their circumstances more than they trust their dreams. If the money isn't in the bank, they stop believing. If the opportunity isn't right in front of them, they give up. If they can't see the finish line, they stop running. But faith doesn't work like that. Faith is believing even when you can't see it. Faith is taking a step even when the road isn't clear. Faith is trusting that God put something in you for a reason and that he's guiding you even when the path looks dark. When you live only by sight, life will always discourage you because sight shows you obstacles, but faith shows you possibilities. Sight tells you it's not working out. Faith tells you keep going. It's not over yet. Sight says the odds are against you. Faith says with God, all things are possible. Sight focuses on the storm, but faith focuses on the destination. The 10% who win, they choose to believe in the unseen because they know sight is limited, but faith is limitless. Can't tell you how many times in my life I didn't see a way. When I was broke, when I was homeless, when I was sleeping in my car, sight told me I was finished. Sight told me there was no hope. Sight told me I didn't have a future, but faith whispered, hold on, something better is coming. Faith told me that my current situation was not my final destination. And if I had listened to what I saw, I would have quit. But I chose to listen to what I believed. And that's the only reason I'm standing here today. The truth is, faith is uncomfortable because it doesn't give you all the answers up front. Faith asks you to trust before you see. It asks you to plant seeds even when you can't see the harvest. It asks you to keep walking even when you don't see the finish line. That's why most people can't handle it. The 90% want guarantees. They want to see it before they believe it. But the 10% who win, they believe it before they see it. They take the leap. They trust the process. They move forward even with uncertainty. And eventually their faith pays off. Faith is also what keeps you strong when life gets heavy. There will be times when everything seems stacked against you, when nothing is working, when every door feels locked. If you're going by sight, you'll give up right there. But if you're walking by faith, you'll say, this is just a season. God is working behind the scenes. My breakthrough is closer than it looks. That kind of mindset keeps you moving forward when everybody else is standing still. And don't get me wrong, faith doesn't mean you sit back and do nothing. Faith without works is dead. Real faith means you keep putting in the effort. You keep grinding. You keep showing up, even when you don't see the results yet. Faith fuels action. Faith is waking up early, working late, and trusting that it's all building towards something greater. Faith is knocking on doors until one finally opens. Faith is refusing to let your current situation decide your future. The 10% understand this. Sight is temporary, but faith is eternal. If you only live by what you see, you'll always be limited. But if you live by faith, you step into a life of unlimited possibilities. That's why the winners keep going when everyone else quits. They see with their faith what their eyes can't see yet, and sooner or later that vision becomes reality.